Hello everyone and welcome to episode 147 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week I'm joined by Jake.
Yellow.
And Shane.
Yayo.
We got our Americans back, finally. It's great to see you guys. Thank you for jumping on.
Sorry I got busy.
Survived.
Disappeared.
It's all good. It's all good.
I got a lot busier than I like to usually get, so.
I know what you mean. As always, we're doing the show live on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers, the place to find us. This will probably be a pretty quick show, but we've got a fair amount to get through, so we'll get straight into it. First one here, we've got a question here from Stubby, who says, would you not play a game even if it was considered a top tier / must play game because of broken or unobtainable achievements never getting fixed? I think I know the answer, but I'd be curious to talk about the psychology.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jake, you go first, Jake.
I would play a game if I was interested. Whether or not, well, its priority would be weighed against like how interested I am in it, I guess, first off. But regardless, I'd probably still play it. But like, I'd just use an alt or play it on PC or something.
Yeah.
I'm a multi-platform gamer, so I try to keep my gamer tag relatively clean. But if there's a game I really want to play and don't want to do the achievements or the bug achievements, I'll just hop on my PlayStation or my PC or something. So yeah, I would, but I wouldn't do it on my main tag.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm kind of the same way. There's no way I'd knowingly put an unobtainable or discontinued on my tag if I could avoid it. I definitely, like if something's a must play, I'll either kind of look it up and do some research and really determine whether it is or not, and then play it on another console or another tag or something, depending on what kind of game it is. I mean, if someone's like, oh, this 200-hour RPG is the best thing I've ever played, I'm like, oh fuck, all right, well, but it's got a shitload of unobtainables. I'm like, you know what? I just have so many other games that I'm just probably not going to get to it, unfortunately. But if someone's like, hey, this like 8 to 10 hour experience is like a must play, but it's got like a weird achievement bug in it or something, I'll play the PC version or I'll play it on PlayStation or something. I'll figure it out. Yeah. Shane, what about you?
Yeah, that's good.
What?
I'm assuming, Shane, you would never put anything unobtainable on your tag ever, right?
No, next question.
Yeah, fair.
I don't care. Is it the second coming? I mean, even then, like that's got unattainables. I got other things I can play.
Yeah.
There are plenty of games. Like right now, I want to play Home Safety Hotline.
Oh yeah.
Really badly.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
And it's broken, so it'll wait, or I'll never play it. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing too. Is like there's so many, like I'm already 20 must plays deep that I haven't played. Probably not even probably hundreds of must plays deep that I've never played. So Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always something else to play.
100%.
Isaac have also asked a sort of similar question. And hey guys, have you guys ever started a game, popped an achievement, then instantly regretted it? Thanks for the show.
Angry Birds Trilogy.
Sorry, which one?
Angry Birds Trilogy.
Oh boy, yes. Angry Birds, and that's not even on my phone. It's not even my fault because my wife was like, "Oh yeah, I'll play Angry Birds. I love Angry Birds." I'm like, "If you're gonna play it, you gotta finish it." And she's like, "I love Angry Birds. I'll play it." And then she played it for a bit. She's like, "Hey, this got really hard. I'm not gonna finish it." And so I had to fucking spend money to finish that fucking game on Windows Phone. I was not happy about it.
Angry Birds, Neverwinter, Magic Duels. I would say ESO because I'll never finish that game, but I actually really enjoy ESO, so I don't mind that it's on my tag. I still go back and play it to this day. I still get my daily logins, and every time I'm in between games and have a few hours at night, like it's an awkward, like I finish a game at 7 p.m. and I don't want to dive into a new one because it's bedtime in 3 hours, I'll like grind out some ESO for a few hours. So I would say that one, but I still play it and I enjoy it. The same experience would probably be for Final Fantasy 14 when I do that. But yeah, there's probably a few games where I'm just like, man, I shouldn't have started this. This was a mistake.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
See, I get that vibe almost every time. Like I know it's coming, and I'm like, oh no, here it comes. And then that first achievement, I'm like, well,
now
I'm stuck with it now whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do you even like video games? So. If that's your experience, every time you pop an achievement, it's just
it's
feeling
very
of
calming.
Regret.
It's very calming for me.
Every time I play games, I just have this, just a dread and regret sets in every time.
This dread, I know it's coming. The hours,
I've
the
definitely got a
achievements.
few. Wolfenstein 2 is obviously one that like I wish I had starting. I know exactly what you mean though, Shane. I think like Banner Saga is one of those ones for me where I was jonesing for something new
Yeah.
to play. I played it for a bit, got the first achievement. I'm like, man, I'm not cut out for this kind of game. It's just, I know it's like lauded, people love it, but I'm just like, I can tell that like tactics games are really just not my thing.
It didn't even feel.
Yeah.
I feel the same about Banner Saga because I heard such good things about it that I played the first and I 100%ed it, but it was a slog, and I'm like, this is not for me. Like I like tactics, but Banner Saga just like felt, um, I don't know, not to like get good as they say, but like it felt too punishing. It felt like the game wanted you to lose, and I
Yeah.
don't like games that want. I'm fine with a difficult game and a punishing game, but I don't love a game that wants you to lose. And Banner Saga felt like a game that wants you to lose.
It bullies you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, eventually, I'm sure I'll get back to that. I'm not super looking forward to it, to be honest. I'm kind of looking through my list of like stuff that I've started and not really progressed in. Yeah, what else have I got on here? I started Battle Chasers Night War years ago and just never got back to it. Risen 2.
Max Payne 3 for me.
Oh, Max Payne 3. Yeah, it's a great shout. Man, that game's rough.
Every Gears of War
Yeah.
I've ever started ever. Everyone.
Yes. Yeah.
On my current tag, the only one I have is 4, but on previous tags, I did 1, 2, and 3. And it was always, I'm like, why do I after the first one and I knew I didn't like the series, I was like, why did I start the second and third? I know I don't like this. Why did I start the fourth? It's always people coaxing me into it.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I'll help you get it. I'll help you get it all. It'll be great. I'll help.
Peer pressure.
We'll grind it out. Me and you, we'll do it together.
Yep.
And then I go, okay. And then I'm like, this is not fun.
Yeah. I'm totally with you.
But I'd rather just hung out with you in the call while you played.
Exactly.
Like,
I'll play
party
something
while
else.
You played.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a few in here, like, SSX and Beholder, Connect Adventures,
Yeah.
That was fun.
Bionic Commando.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Rearmed.
thinking it is.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just State of Decay, Zoo Tycoon. I just have a few games in here. And I'm just like, oh, really could have done without these on my tag.
I liked Zoo Tycoon.
I mean, I like Zoo Tycoon, but
That game's great.
yeah, I don't know. It's the 360 version, so I also don't like that. I should just go back and do it.
Oof.
Fair enough.
It's jank, to be fair.
To be fair, I don't think I'd start Zoo Tycoon today.
Sure.
But when it was this like third Xbox One game I'd ever bought, it was fantastic.
I might just go back to it. I do need to go back to the 360 and clean some stuff up.
I think most recently it was that Hungarian Silent Hill game I played.
Oh.
Definitely had a moment get that first achievement. I'm like, oh no, and yeah, it ended up being doable. But
Which
it
one was
definitely
that?
rough. Remorse the List.
Oh, yeah, so you posted, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a first person. It's very clearly what's the word I'm looking for? Inspired by Silent Hill.
Sure.
Inspired.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah, it's a little jank and it's kind of hard. So definitely getting that first achievement, I'm like, oh no. But it ended up being pretty not terribly frustrating.
I get this feeling a lot when I'm doing things leaving Game Pass. Because like usually if I haven't played something leaving Game Pass, it's because either I don't know enough about it or there aren't a lot of guides or like, there wasn't a good reason to do it. And so I always feel like I'm stepping into slightly more uncharted waters with that. I remember, was it Going Under? That, the roguelike.
Yeah.
That one I was like, ooh, I don't like roguelites very much, but people have been recommending this a lot. I don't know. And I got into it and I was like, it was fine up until like the title update stuff with the more difficult, increasing tiers.
That was annoying.
And I was like, fuck, man, I really regret playing this.
That's why I quit doing games leaving Game Pass, because for a while that's what I was doing. I would the new list would come out and I'd go rush them, and I was finding more often than not that I was doing them because I felt like I had to, and then I just like would start it and I wouldn't have that much fun. I'd have fun,
Yeah.
but like I'd always be playing these games and I'd be like, man, I wish I was playing like this other game right now, but I can't because this is leaving Game Pass. Or I wish I was playing this game. So I just stopped doing that because that was the experience I had almost every time I played a game that was leaving Game Pass. Like if I know I want to play it and it's leaving Game Pass, like the Like a Dragon series and stuff that's leaving, I'll just wishlist it and pick it up later because like I know I want to play those and I won't have enough time. The one I don't regret for sure was doing Dragon Quest XI.
Oh,
I started that the day it was announced leaving, and I finished it like 2 days before it left.
I really
But
enjoyed that game, but fuck me, it's a long game. That's all.
it's so good. It was so good. I can't wait for 12.
Yeah, I've definitely found some diamonds in the rough doing the like leaving Game Pass stuff, but I'm a lot more selective than I used to be in terms of like when I see the list, now, I'm just like
There was this. I still have this one. I bought it because I didn't finish it. Non-guns. It's like it's an interesting, weird roguelite.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a game that comes to mind that it was a diamond in the rough that I found. It was like Mega Man Battle Network. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
God, I love those games so much.
It was so sick, and the music was sick. It was like a roguelite, and it was awesome. It was badass.
One of the ones I actually enjoyed quite a bit was like Monster Train. Like it's something I was not expecting to enjoy at all.
Yeah.
But like it was one of those games I was like, I would never have played that if it wasn't on Game Pass. And the fact that it was leaving and everyone's like, oh, it's not that difficult. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a try.
And it was leaving over like the Christmas season last year, so like I was home for the holidays and just had a laptop, so it was like the perfect thing to just like I just in my free time at my parents' house without any consoles. I just played Monster Train on my computer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it was fun to figure out your own. And then when you had to go for the achievements, you could set up like everything was
seed everything.
Not quite random, so really nice.
All right, well, thanks for your questions, Stubby and Isaac. Really appreciate it. Let's get into some news stuff. This is, again, it's a pretty light week for news. Things are kind of slowing down a little bit. There's a few things here and there, though. But the first one here is that Black Ops 6 is apparently the biggest Call of Duty release, quote unquote, in franchise history, from the CEO of Microsoft. Are we surprised? I don't know. Have we got any thoughts about Black Ops? It's been surprisingly well regarded. Again, I know a lot of people
I've heard good things about the campaign.
A lot of people in our sort of, hardcore sphere, sort of, people who play a lot of video games, not just achievement hunters, but kind of, the gaming press in general, tend to kind of turn their nose up at Call of Duty a little bit in terms of like, it's, it's quite mass market and generally is kind of like, it's usually good, but not great. But I haven't heard a bad word against Call of Duty basically at all, except for maybe some balanced stuff in the multiplayer, which is not unusual. That's always the case, but
typical. Yeah.
I played a few rounds of zombies and like I had fun. I haven't played zombies in a long time, so everything about new zombies made me feel like I was cheating.
Right.
Because
like you're like, I don't just take 2 hits and die immediately. What is this?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And like I can upgrade my guns that I had. Like there's 3 levels to. I don't know. I was playing with some friends who like they kept telling me these things and this and that. I'm like, this literally feels like cheating. Like this is crazy. This is what people would mod.
This isn't allowed.
Freaking Black Ops 1 and World of War. Like this is crazy. But it was fun, and I've been hearing good things about it. And generally not a ton of complaints. It's interesting to hear though that they say what do you say, the biggest Call of Duty?
Biggest launch, but biggest Call of Duty release, basically. Yeah.
How are they scoring that metric? By player base or sales?
I assume, right? I mean,
it has to be.
It's on Game Pass, so and they've seen a big uptake in Game Pass apparently as well. But also sales on PlayStation and Steam are also up like 60% year on year from last year's. So I mean, also Modern Warfare 3 was not a great entry into the series, so they weren't major competition there. But I mean, I know that this was kind of a big make or break thing for Microsoft in terms of like they put this game on Game Pass Ultimate. Basically giving it away for their subscription price, and they've obviously seen a lot of people play it through Game Pass because there's been a huge uptick in people playing it, people buying Game Pass Ultimate. But I know a lot of people were like, there's no way they'd put Call of Duty on Game Pass. That just seems like they wouldn't make any money. But I don't know.
It was definitely a major litmus test for them.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm glad to see that it worked out because obviously that benefits us in the end. But good.
Will I play the game on anything more than an alt and play zombies every now and again with my friends? Probably not, but it's fun for what it is. Like the time I've had with it and zombies has been cool.
I'll talk a little bit more about it because I've been playing it and a lot of it, which is unusual for me. So I definitely want to shout about it a little bit. But apparently they had the largest Game Pass subscriber ads since they first started the service, apparently, which makes perfect sense. Set new records for monthly active users in the quarter and more players. Again, like it seems to be a smash hit across the board, which seems to be great. Like apparently Game Pass is growing because of it. even with the hardware sales falling. But a lot of it obviously is on the shoulders of the Activision Blizzard acquisition, which is kind of fueling a lot of that content.
Good.
And unfortunately, and I was talking with Matt Rokotansky, fan of the show Nick, about this. Unfortunately, it does mean that we will be playing COD until the day we die because they just keep adding achievements to the list. So they got us.
Wonder how long it's gonna last.
That is
You're
what I'm
never
curious
safe.
about. How many years will they keep it up? Will this be a
Being an
100,000
achievement-
game?
Being achievement hunter in this day and age, you're never safe.
No, you never are. You're like, oh, it's like, oh, they moved on to like 2 other Call of Duty games. Sweet, great. I played Modern Warfare 2. I really enjoyed it. I really feel like playing Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 6. Surprise, motherfucker.
Too bad.
Yep.
Overwatch 2, or just like a random indie that releases a. I mean, Kingdom 2 Crowns is still getting new achievements recently.
Yeah.
That game's random indie that I started on Game Pass. It's still like.
Believe me, I'm
almost
pretty
half a
anxious,
decade
man.
later.
I just put like 30 games on my tag last month. I am pretty sure none of them will get achievements, but you never know.
You never do.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Also, again, we missed the show last week, so there's a little bit of catching up to do. But we also had Veilguard come out, Dragon Age the Veilguard come out, to some interesting reception. Critics seem to love it. People seem to be a little bit more mixed on it in terms of its writing and its combat. But also, I guess some people are just kind of excited to see more Dragon Age because it's been 10 years.
I've been told it's like the most you have to play a game. Like,
yeah, right.
As in, you literally can't take any. There's no word you can take for it. You literally just have to try it, and you're either gonna like it, or you're gonna. But there's no like research into it that you're gonna do to determine
I've
that
seen
for you.
So many polarizing opinions that are like so split. It's kind of nuts. I will end up picking up because my wife loves the series, and also I like Dragon Age as well. So I am curious to see kind of what have they done to my boy. But
yeah, I'll get it too.
Yeah. But
looks fun.
Some of the criticism that they've gotten has been around the sort of tone and color palette and kind of the design of the game and kind of making it more Fortnite kiddie.
My friend described it as Pixar Dragon Age.
Sure, yeah, right, and apparently like visually and tonally, apparently it's quite in that kind of way. So there was a lot of chatter on Mass Effect. But apparently Mass Effect is not going down that route. They're very much trying to keep it in that same genre, that same sort of hard sci-fi with some cool shit, but like not PG-13ing it too much.
Which cool.
Excuse me. Which I guess probably makes sense. Again, they've also said that they're not going to do any DLC for for Veilguard. They are moving basically straight onto Mass Effect. Keen to get that out the door, it sounds like.
Thank God. Right. I want to see more of that in the gaming industry. It's just releasing a game and then moving to the next game and getting them just pumping out games. I genuinely think that's probably that's one of the biggest problems with modern gaming, at least in the AAA space, is like they just pump out games. Like that's when you were doing your best, is when you were pumping out games. Now you're releasing a game and supporting it for 2 years to have lackluster content and you lose 90% of your player base after the first month. Like, stop doing, just release games. That's what you're doing wrong. Just release games.
Look at that platform. Not so much like experience now. It's they're trying to find that one hit. They want their Apex or their Fortnite or whatever. Or Siege. Siege was a good one. That I mean,
Hyperscape. What other ones are there?
And I get that. Like those are sexy games, right? That's an appealing thing where you have this ongoing game that just prints money forever. But it's like it's not working, and you can't. It's got to be natural. You can't force it. And I know it's more expensive to make games, so like dev times take longer. But I think part of that is also that devs are keeping so many resources on the games they release that they can't push games out as much anymore. And I mean, I'm not saying like just pump stuff out, because then you get into a mess where it's like soulless. But we just don't see, and maybe it's a good thing we don't see as many releases from AAAs anymore. But like I feel like you get like Grand or like Rockstar's the good one, right? And the 360, you look at their catalog for the 360, how many games they released. Then you look at their catalog for the Xbox One, and it's like 2 games, like GTA 5, which was a port, and Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, when you look at something like Mass Effect Trilogy being all on the 360, Dragon Age 1 and 2.
Bioshock.
Exactly. Like, again, like the 360, really, the PS2 360 era really does feel like the golden age of when games were cheap enough to make without all the other bullshit that they had to deal with.
Yeah.
That sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why it feels so good
I
to
don't
go
know, maybe
back to
that's
these games.
Maybe that's an ignorant take, but I think that's a good thing that it sounds like they're just releasing Veilguard and going on to the next. I would love to see more of that from AAA studios. It's just release your game and go on to the next. Let's get more stuff, more content, fresh content.
I'm curious why. Did they think Veilguard wasn't going to do enough, so they didn't have a roadmap? I mean,
I wonder if it's. Again,
I wonder why that is.
I feel like Veilguard has been reworked so many times over the years from what we've heard. I mean, originally, apparently, there was talk about it being a live service for EA, right? Like, it's one of the things of, like, it was...
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone was like, fucking no. Like, don't you dare. Don't do
please
this.
Don't.
And so...
I was one of them. I was like, please don't.
Exactly. So I'm wondering if this is just kind of like, hey, we just got this out, and, like, we spent a shitload of time on this. We need to move the fuck on. They also did a lot of teasing of Mass Effect way early. Like, really early in terms of, like, that for a game that's probably not coming out for another 2 or 3 years. It's crazy to me. But I guess, you know, if they've got Mass Effect in the works and they're already partway through it and they have the dev resource and they're just like, fuck it, we don't plan on doing any DLC for this. I'm very curious what the, like, historical look back of this game is going to be in terms of, like, it's because it got, like, you know, 85s and that kind of stuff on Metacritic and, like,
relatively got good reviews. Yeah. It sold really well too, didn't it?
Yeah, apparently. Apparently it sold pretty well. I mean, but I'm just, like, I'm curious of, like, is this going to be a thing that we look at? Like, again, we look back on, like, Dragon Age Origins and we're like, this game was a fucking masterpiece. Like, it had its problems, but it was unlike kind of anything that had come out around that time. And then we saw the second game and, like, clearly a rushed sequel. And then people were like, Inquisition is kind of a weird one. Some, like, again, that was their most successful one. So
Inquisition is so good.
And I like Inquisition a lot, but I still think Origins is much better in terms of, like, tone and kind of how the game plays. But
disagree.
I mean,
Inquisition
is
the best Dragon Age.
Choose the best, obviously.
Yeah. Inquisition was so good.
I like Inquisition a lot.
So fun.
But I was like, I'm curious. Is Veilguard going to be like? Do we think about it more like Origins and Inquisition, or do we think more of it like Dragon Age 2? I don't know.
It's probably a 2.
That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Like, I think it's reviewed well, and I think people will enjoy it, but I don't think it's going to stand the test of time.
I don't remember 2 being spoken of well at all. I remember that coming out, and
2 definitely was not. Yeah.
Okay, well,
it wasn't. It was fine.
Not Origins.
It was a decent game. I think it's more so it's just not. It didn't leave as big of an impact, and I think that's what Veilguard is going to come down to. It's just like it's going to be fine, going to be good.
Yeah. But
it's not going to have an impact. It's not going to have a lasting impact.
Like, let me put it this way: if it had come out last year, and we were comparing this with, like, Baldur's Gate, for example, right? Like, that's the kind of thing where you're like, Baldur's Gate is the game that people still talk about today, and people are still playing it.
That's what I was going to say. I wonder how Veilguard would have done if Baldur's Gate 3 wasn't there to compare with.
Yeah.
Because I've heard Veilguard's a very fun RPG and everything, but man, Baldur's Gate 3 has changed that game. Like, I have heard that game is just insane.
There are people who are Baldur's Gate 3 streamers. Like, they've just, like, made a single player. Well, I guess it's co-op too, but they've made a story-driven game their sole stream game, which you used to only ever see was, like, competitive games. But they've, like, just made their entire stream out of just, like, I'm just a Baldur's Gate streamer. I will just keep playing mods and doing new runs with different stuff that I didn't experience last time, and this is the game.
Insane.
I'm a Baldur's Gate streamer. It's crazy.
Which is funny because, like, you know, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, that's BioWare, you know, like, that's, I don't know, it's an interesting, it's interesting how it sort of ends up.
Hoisted by your own petard.
Right. I mean, to be fair, like, who at BioWare at this point is still there from the original group is basically no one, right? So,
yeah.
There was
also true, yeah.
There was also talk about how they basically doesn't look like they're going to be able to do, like, a Legendary style re-release of Origins, because only like 20 people at the company understand the source code for it.
Oh, that's right. I read that. Yeah, they're like, we don't know how to work with this.
Yeah.
What is this? It's cursive to them.
Yeah.
Just like a personal anecdote, I get that so much because everyone at my company, like, there was, like, a kind of a culling, and so everyone who wrote all the old homebrew code is, like, gone. So we have nothing but, like, new people who've been there for less than 5 years, and everyone's just like, I don't I don't know. I don't know how this stuff works.
It's Warhammer
So I
40k
get-
all over again. You just kind of you discover the old technology, you just pray it keeps working, and you just sacrifice whoever you need to the techno gods to keep it that way.
Genuinely, seriously, yeah, 100%. It's just we literally all the time we're just like, look, we just inherited this mess. We don't. I have no idea.
Do
what's going
not
on.
touch this. We don't know what it does, but don't touch it.
So I get that sentiment of not knowing the source code, or 10 people at the company know the source code. It's funny.
Another game that sort of came out that was sort of compared to Baldur's Gate was Starfield, and that definitely got some less favorable comparisons in terms of like its complexity and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it turns out like so there's a former dev, a Bethesda dev, who was talking about Starfield recently and sort of said that like it seems like the kind of perfect game for a sequel in terms of like good concept, bad execution, problems, new idea, new IP. It's the kind of thing where you're kind of Assassin's Creed to it, where you're like, okay, we kind of have you down. You're in the universe. You understand how this works. We're really gonna work on the minutia of kind of what makes a game like this play really well. But yeah, one of the old Bethesda designers, Bruce Nesmith, basically said that yeah, it would be great to like a Starfield sequel would be a hell of a game. Apparently, like a great chance to iron out issues. He was also one of the designers on Skyrim, for example, to give you some context. And so for his quote, he has a quote here basically saying, sorry, apologies. Part of the reason why Skyrim works so well is that they didn't have to start from the ground up. They had, Morrowind and Oblivion to kind of stand on top of. And so having that opportunity for something like Starfield, which is quite a rich, interesting universe in terms of like its world building, would be like really, really beneficial in the same way that like, I was going to say Fallout 4. Fallout 4 definitely fixed some of the issues with 3, but also introduced a shitload more of them. So that's probably not the best example, but I don't know. People are talking about like the Shattered Space expansion being decent, but also not worth the price. But it has seen an increase. Like a lot of people have gone back to Starfield when it came out. If you're one of our Patrons, we have a whole chat around Starfield in general. You should go check that out. I don't know. Now that we're more than a year on and that kind of stuff, do you guys play Starfield? What do you guys think about it? What do you guys think a sequel would be the right move for them? Or do you think they're like, hey, Elder Scrolls 6 actually will make us a shitload of money?
I'd like to play Starfield. I haven't yet. It's on my to-do list, but so are 3,000 plus other games.
Sure.
But I think that's fair. I think that's a fair sentiment to have. Is like, yeah, we could do better a second time around. We can learn from our failures. I think they deserve that chance too. And I mean, that's sound logic that like, yeah, Skyrim was easier because we had the foundation. Starfield 2 would be easier to make good because they have a foundation to build off of. So I'd be interested if they wanted to do something like that. And I think maybe I have decent faith that they could smash it out of the park.
Yeah, I trust Bethesda. Like of all companies, I'd be shocked if we don't get a sequel. Honestly, I can't imagine them just dropping it completely.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it was successful enough that I assume that they probably made enough money on it to make it a thing, even if it didn't hit quite the critical reception they were after.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to play it at some point, but I as with most newer games, I'm gonna wait until all the achievements and DLC are out, and then I'll get it on discount. And yeah, I'm sure it'll be
Elder
fun.
Scrolls.
From what I've seen, I'm gonna like it. I know I am. So.
That or Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna flop, and we're gonna see a new era of Bethesda where they're the. I don't know, who could you equate them to? What dev went by the wayside like that used to
BioWare?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, Anthem, Andromeda, that was a bad run.
Oh no. Yeah, who knows? I mean, Elder Scrolls 6 is still probably 3 years away.
Well, that's the thing is like Elder Scrolls 6 is the next game that's like years away, and then you've got another Fallout game probably, and then another Starfield game. I really feel like Microsoft are going to be like, yeah, we're just going to take that off you for a bit and just give it to someone else. Realistically, if there's going to be a sequel,
we're going to see Starfield 2 in
Obsidian,
2035.
Yeah, exactly.
Just give a Fallout spin-off to Obsidian, man.
Yes,
That's-
exactly.
People love New Vegas. Like,
Exactly.
please.
You know what they need? They need a multiverse where they take Skyrim, Fallout, and
No, please, no more
Starfield
multiverses.
combined, and they do time travel.
And then Spider-Man
so you go
shows
to
up.
each, yeah, and you go to each like you're back in Tamriel, and then you like time travel to whatever world Starfield takes in, and then like you're doing stuff, and you I'm cooking here.
Yeah, no,
There's
I can
an
see it. I
idea
can see it.
here.
Yeah,
but
No,
that's
you're not.
the-
and what you can do is you get little figures of each of the characters, and you put them on this big portal thing, and then they show up in the game.
yeah. What he said.
I mean,
Yeah, you're cooking
Activision
already.
invented Toys
It's a
to
big-
Life,
it's a big
right? So we
pile of
might as
black
well, like,
mush.
they might as well get the Skylanders team back in and get Toys for Bob on the phone.
no.
Oh, I wish.
Oh
Let
man.
them do something.
Yeah, right. I don't know what they're working on something apparently. I don't know what they got going on.
Probably Crash Bandicoot if I had to bet.
That would, yeah, probably Crash Bandicoot or Spyro or something. Yeah. And then last news story. So there's been talk about Hogwarts Legacy 2. There is some DLC coming for the original apparently. They realized they're like, hey, this was a big money maker. We should probably make some more money off of it. But apparently Hogwarts Legacy 2 is like in like super fast production. They're like Warner Bros. Are like, oh shit, we need to like we're in trouble.
Speaking of a company that needs help,
Fuck me, yeah, yeah, exactly. In terms of like, oh, how did that Suicide Squad game go for you guys? Also that Mortal Kombat 1 that everyone hated. I don't know. Yeah, it feels like Hogwarts Legacy is really the only big win they've had in a while.
How about a VR exclusive to a franchise that is beloved by everyone who doesn't have a VR headset?
Yeah, apparently it's really good. I'm
it's supposed to be
I believe
really
it.
good.
I'll never play it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm never gonna
Never
get
gonna
a
play
VR system for it. But
Maybe I'll watch the YouTube cutscene movie of it
Exactly.
to see what how the story shakes out. But that's about it.
Have you guys ever messed with that headset before? The Meta
Yeah,
3?
the minute, no.
My brother has one.
My
They're
friend
fun.
has it. I got to play Assassin's Creed. That's insane. Like how
It's
cool that is
fun.
nowadays.
Yeah.
It's really
wild.
cool, but it's VR to me is just it's not and I know there's so many people who disagree with me because there's a lot of diehard VR people out there, but it's not a serious gaming unit. It is a toy.
Yeah, it's a novelty.
Like all it is to me. So putting serious games on it is just like, why would you do that? It's fun for Beat Saber. It's fun for the
try
rhythm
to-
gunny game.
To try
It's
to get
fun
it
for-
real. That's why.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
very much a catch-22 situation of like they need to have real games on it to make it mass market appealing, but it's also not mass
Yeah.
market appealing as a device because it's expensive. So people don't.
But you know
develop
who
for
else
it.
tried? You know who else tried putting mass market appealing games on a novelty system?
Mhm.
Stadia.
Who?
Stadia.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, what?
Oh,
What's that?
yeah, fair enough.
I mean, yeah, that's
Is that Nintendo
another
thing?
Phil Harrison special after he left Atari and PlayStation, right?
So I don't know. I don't know how sound that logic is, but I get the strategy, but it's like we've seen it before and it doesn't always work.
I think
out.
most of the companies making the headsets have the money to just keep throwing in it until hopefully
That's
it works.
fair.
So-
Like all the headset people are HTC, Meta,
yeah.
and Steam or
Yeah.
Valve.
Meta's still
So-
losing billions every year on the technology because they're like, if we hit it big
Yep.
and we make Ready Player One, they will be the one company that does it, right? So they figure it's a
Yeah.
big enough investment. I mean, the technology will get there someday, right? But
Their new glasses are cool.
And-
They're like augmented reality glasses that are actually like small form factor glasses. That sounds neat.
Yeah.
Yes, but
If it keeps going the way it is, because I played with the Meta 3, and then my friend also got the Meta 3S, and it's such a difference. Like at some point they're gonna meet,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be like these, but VR.
yeah,
Like, and I don't care about VR. I mean, oh, it doesn't have achievements, but also, yeah, I don't want to play like that. That's not how I want to play video games. I want to play with a controller. But playing with it at my friend's house, playing Resident Evil 4, playing Assassin's Creed, like, it's like being in a Disney ride or something. It's why it really is. I get it when I'm playing it. It's just still not for me.
the
But
best,
I
the
totally
best-
understand the people that are in it.
I do too. For me, the best place to be in relation to VR is have somebody in your life who has one.
exactly.
Like that's it.
It's like kids.
Got it. Set.
Yeah.
You know?
My brother actually gave my daughter a Meta 2, so we technically
Oh,
have
there you go.
one. Just-
Nice.
I don't want to play it. Yeah.
They put
good.
achievements out for them. Maybe
Pass.
maybe I can.
Oh dang! Then I'll pull. Yeah, I'll try
just,
this real quick.
I'll
I'll be right on
suffer
it
through a couple of games.
in a
That's fine.
heartbeat. No,
Hey,
there actually
my
are.
brother has
There
the-
actually are VR games with achievements. Just FYI.
True.
The Meta 3 does have Xbox game streaming. So my brother did the like thing where he would stream it. He was streaming his Xbox, playing Xbox games on a Meta 3, so you can technically get achievements on your Meta Quest 3.
Yeah, it's just the problem is still that you're like, oh, this is so neat, and then after like an hour, you pull it off, you're like, oh my god, oh, your face is all sweaty, and it's just, no, I'm good.
Well, but by the time Meta gets all the form factor down into a regular pair of glasses to, you know, shield us from the horrible realities of the world, we'll really get to appreciate it. It'll be just like We Happy Few, basically, but with less drugs and more sunglasses.
Or Black Mirror.
I want more drugs and less sunglasses.
Well, I mean, you could also go like the They Live style thing, where it's like the sunglasses show you what actually is going on. But God, that movie is so good.
No, I'm good.
But yes, Warner Brothers are in a bit of trouble. But they have decided that apparently, and again, I don't know how the fuck this is going to work, but apparently their Hogwarts Legacy 2 game will share some sort of story elements with the new Harry Potter HBO show that's being worked on. Which I don't. I mean, like, Hogwarts Legacy was like in the past, like very intentionally. So I'm very curious, like, because I don't know much. I don't follow a lot of Harry Potter stuff. I'm not a big, I'm not a big pothead.
Well, they're all the wizards are like old, so all they can do is be like, hey, this is blank character that's young.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they'll do the Star Wars thing where it's just Yoda shows up because he's 1,000 years old, so he can show up in all the media.
It's Dobby. Oh man, cool.
Yeah, exactly. I guess so. Yeah. Connection. When they say connection, is it literally just going to be like cameos or references? I don't know.
I guess it depends how long it takes. I think that show has got to be coming out soon. They've been talking for a while.
Well, they only
put out every other time they
only put out casting calls for the main characters for like Harry, Ron, and Hermione like in September.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay. So 2026 probably.
Definitely, yeah. It definitely sounds like a 2026 kind of production. I mean, unless it's going to be like an classic HBO thing where it's like you get like 5 episodes. I don't know.
I mean, if it's like these other tie-ins, what they're going to do is Hogwarts Legacy 2 will come out, and then at some point the Harry Potter show will come out, and they'll have like a DLC mission or something.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
You'll talk to Harry through some time portal or something. You know what I mean? Like that's how they usually do this kind of thing. I mean, it'd be cool.
They'll interact with a ghost in the show, and the ghost will be the real person in the game or something. I don't know. I'm actually interested in like a Hogwarts Legacy sequel. It is another one of those games that like good first attempt, but really could use a sequel in terms of like some interesting ideas, really fun world, but just suffered from
people ate that up.
Oh fuck me! It did so well, and it's still selling really well. Like last year and this year, like it's doing crazy still. It's just one of those kind of evergreen games that Warner Brothers is just so happy with. And like it makes perfect sense, right? There has never really been a proper Harry Potter game outside of the movies. And it's quite a rich world for them to work with. I like the original. It does definitely suffer from the Ubisoftification of like too many icons on the map that don't really add anything to the gameplay experience. But I guess we'll see how it goes. But I'm not expecting it for the next... If they even announce it next year, it won't be till 26, 27, which is crazy to think about. The dates are even getting to 26, 27.
Didn't Warner recently...
It's on my list.
Didn't Warner recently list off like 4 key franchises they're trying to make games of? And one was Harry Potter, one was Batman. I don't remember the other 2.
Yeah, what else are they working on?
All right, laid out like that.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have a few irons in the fire. Lord of the Rings they were doing stuff with, right? That was another one. And now I'm completely blanking. It's got to be something.
Port Arkham Shadow to console.
Well, I mean,
gosh darn it.
Yeah, they got to do something.
Figure out how to rebuild it for console, and then sell it
that
to
wouldn't
me.
surprise me. I mean, we've seen a lot of VR stuff get rebuilds. You know, like they are like tend to be like 8 to 10 hour experiences when they're real games. So having them be rebuilt for the flat screens is usually not that far out, especially considering Batman is, the Arkham series do exist already. Just having a look at like Warner Brothers games.
That game looks cool too.
Out, yeah.
If it's anything like Assassin's Creed VR, man, I bet Arkham Shadow is very good. Just give me the haptic. Well, once they have like you punch an enemy, you feel it in your fist.
Whole body suit.
Done. I'm so in. Yeah, no, 100%. Because Assassin's Creed's cool because you can climb the walls and stuff, but it still doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like, oh, this is neat.
But that's like all the news we've got this week. Or the last 2 weeks. It's been very, very quiet on that front. Like there's been a few releases and a couple of reviews and stuff, but we saw Death Stranding kind of got a surprise. Their definitive director's cut got a surprise launch on Xbox, kind of out of nowhere. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty quiet at the moment. I guess No Man's Sky released a Mass Effect crossover to go for N7 Day yesterday, which is kind of cool. You know, you get the Normandy and that kind of thing, but they just will not let that game die. All right. I'll quickly go through the Game Pass updates. So we've now got Xbox and Microsoft have now started splitting out the tiers of what's getting added to what tier. So a lot of games that were day one Game Pass on Game Pass Ultimate are now coming to the standard tier. So we had Botany Manor on the 4th, Metaslug Tactics, Star Wars Remastered, and StarCraft Remastered, StarCraft 2 Campaign Remastered coming to Game Pass Ultimate. And also on standard, we've got Go Mecha Ball, Harold Halibut, Rewinder, and Turnip Boy Robs a Bank. And then also for Ultimate, we got Goat Simulator Remastered. So I've installed that. I'm going to give that a try. And like the last thing they've announced is Flight Simulator 2024 is coming out to Game Pass Ultimate on the 19th.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what the list looks like for that. And hopefully maybe it's a bit more reasonable than the original. It probably won't be, but...
No. Nope.
Yeah, we do have a few things leaving as well. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name is leaving. I highly recommend you give that a go. I had a great time playing through that for the most part.
I'm quite enjoying it.
Like a Dragon Ishin is also leaving, which was it was dropped. It said it was leaving last week or last month, but then apparently it was a mistake, so it's leaving this month. That's like a 120-hour game though. But I found it very cheap. You can find it really cheap physical, so I would actually recommend that. Persona 5 Tactica is leaving, which thankfully I just finished a couple weeks ago. Somerville is a nice, easy, semi-side-scrolling slightly limbo-ish style from some people who left that development. Dicey Dungeons, Dungeons 4, and Goat Simulator for Windows are also leaving Game Pass.
Dungeons 4 looks cool. I have Dungeons 3 physical, and if you've never played it or know what it is, if you've ever played Dungeon Keeper from back in the day, it's like you're a crypt keeper, dungeon keeper guy. It's like a management game where you build a dungeon and you have to kill the heroes that come to your dungeon to try to pillage it. So if you like management games mixed with like Overlord, that's kind of like what Dungeons is.
Yeah, it definitely has like an Overlord tone, kind of like very maniacal, hilarious.
Yeah.
Over the top.
Cool game.
Color me interested.
Yeah.
It's a cool game.
It's one of the ones I wish I got around to, but I just didn't have time.
Yeah. I haven't played Dungeons 4, but I've dabbled with Dungeons 3, and I haven't completed it, but I'd like to. But yeah, it's I think it doesn't get as much notoriety as it should. It's a pretty fun concept, especially if you like management games.
We've also got a monthly theme, or the Bimestral Burden, as Keo named it, where we run an event every 2 months. For you guys to get in your fucking games and work on them, get a good excuse to go back to them. So we finished up last 2 months. We finished up our DLC and Stay Down for your DLC and title updates. Saw a lot of good work there. My DLC list is like dropped to nothing now, basically almost. It's been great. Fucking Neverwinter will never always be there though. But yes, we've moved on to November and December, which is the Game of the Year grab bag. So it's the race to finish up as many of the games that you meant to play this year that you haven't gotten around to. So, get yourself ready for your Game of the Year chat. You get your top 10s in order. Try and figure out what actually fucking came out this year, and you didn't misremember it coming out 2 years ago.
Final Fantasy 4 came out this year.
Yes, it did. Yes. So technically, anything I'm going by TA lists for the most part. So if the game got launched on Xbox this year, I will give you a pass.
Coming soon, Final Fantasy 5.
Yep. There's quite a few of these Final Fantasy games this year, actually. Apparently, so
Trials of Mana.
Yeah, Trials of Mana is probably going to be one of mine too. Yeah. Yeah, so I will give you that. So you have November and December, again, because we want to do our Game of the Year chat probably early Jan. Talk about stuff we've played through the year. So now's the time. Get in there. I want to hear people playing 2024 games. I don't care if they're bad. I don't care if they're good. I just want games from this year because we.
I don't care if they came out 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Technically.
Sure. All right. Well, speaking of games from long in the past, what have you guys been playing? Shane, do you want to go first?
I haven't been playing a whole lot. I finished up my month of Spooky. That was a lot.
It was how many games did you get through in the end?
Like 29.
Jesus.
It's only because one of them I don't count because it wasn't spooky.
Oh.
So I did a game a day, and then that day I did 2, and then I was out of town for 3 days, so I also did 2 the last 2 days, like so, yeah. But at least a game a day most of the days of the month.
You're crazy, man.
Most of them were, Puppet Combo. Their games are cool, but they're like an hour or two. I did a couple of the Sometimes You. I did even a Ratalaika, like their newest one, which risky, but it seemed like it was pretty quick and easy.
Mm-hmm.
But I could do some hard ones, like the aforementioned Scholar and a couple other ones. But the one thing that was shocking was how few and any of these have guides. Like,
Yeah.
go
Right.
through my list, and if you click into them, like most of them don't have guides even for the individual achievements. No completion times, nothing. Huge pain. But I'm done. I feel a little listless now because I don't know what to play. Because I had like a spooky game every day to go.
Yep.
But I am playing Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name. I love that series. But as someone who's trying to play a lot of games, usually I don't have a lot of time to get on them. I've only done Kiwami.
Mm-hmm.
But Like a Dragon's like one of the shorter ones, like 25 hours.
Yeah.
So I've been working through that.
It's a really good like bite-sized experience of kind of what those games are like.
Yeah, because it still has a lot of the meat.
Yeah.
It's just not achievement related.
I've been trying to, I've been trying to get to the Like a Dragon / Yakuza games forever, and I've decided I'm not going to play them until it's a limited run is currently in the process of releasing 0 through 6 with physical
Ooh.
special editions for both Xbox and PS4. I'm getting the PS4 copies because
Nice.
I don't know, but and it's the first one which just ended today. So if you didn't know about it, sorry. 0 and Kiwami 1 just cut their sales. Kiwami 2 just came out today. But if you got Kiwami 0 special edition, it comes with a actual sleeve cover. So if you get them all, you can put them all in, and then their bindings all
Hell,
line
that'd
up
be
into
pretty.
a package. And each one also comes with like a different statue of like one of the characters in the game and stuff, and cool posters and stuff. So I'm going to be getting all
That's
7 of those. And when I have those in my possession, I will start Yakuza finally.
Amazing.
See, my goal is to get as many of the games done, but I'm only going to do 0, Kiwami, Kiwami 2, 7, 8, and Gaiden, and maybe Ishin someday. But 3 through 6, they're not remastered, so they're older, and I've heard they are a lot. So even though I think 0 is the longest one, I believe.
Yeah, 0.
I don't know about
up
7,
there.
8 in that, but
7
I
and
know
8
0 was like
thing,
the
right?
long one.
Yeah, 3 through 6 are just basically ports, right? Like
Yeah,
straight
at
from the
this point,
PS3.
Yes.
PS3 ports, yeah.
That's okay.
They're really
I
fun
like
games.
retro jank.
I'm sure there are Kiwami
I
versions of them.
I wasn't gonna start it, but then it was announced that it was leaving, and then I also watched the first episode of the Prime series.
Oof.
Bad,
Oof.
bad. I was like, how could they do this to my boy Kiryu? So I'm like, you know what? I need to see some real Like a Dragon, and yeah, sure enough, I love that game. I love that
sorry,
character so much.
You mean Joryu, right? Not Kiryu isn't in the game.
Oh
right?
yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Kiryu's dead. Right.
Yeah, Kiryu
So,
is very much dead.
yeah, very, very, very dead.
He wears a pair of glasses, so it's definitely not him. Different guy.
I just love how like I did try listening to the English version when I beat the game.
Yeah,
So after I finished up my first playthrough, I played in Japanese and then I switched to English, and it's just not the same.
it really is not.
Like having this big, just massive dude with this deep voice and just deadpan everything, but he's very earnest about it, and I don't know. I think it's adorable. Like I Kiryu is the best. So I kind of miss some of the other characters in the series because obviously he's doing his own thing in this one, but love it. Game's great. Those series, every time I play them, it makes me want to go to Japan, just walk around. Because you in those games, that's what you're doing, and how busy it is. And I've seen pictures. That is what Japan's like. So I would love to go just walk around and shop and drink and eat and bam.
Karaoke.
I go socialize every time.
Smash people up with
Huh?
bikes that aren't yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
When are they porting Dead Souls?
What's that?
Yakuza Dead
Zomb-
Souls?
Fuck, I'd completely forgotten about
Yeah,
Dead
I
Souls.
know.
Jesus.
The PS2 one.
That's a
Yep.
blast from the past.
PS3. It's PS3.
Yeah,
It's
holy
PS3.
fuck.
The PS3.
Yeah.
It is.
Jeez.
I have a physical
I've seen
copy
that.
of Dead
Completely
Souls.
forgot about
I've seen
that
the
game.
gameplay.
Holy
It looks so
shit.
old.
Yeah.
I was like, Lost
yeah.
Judgment was the other one with the detective, right? I was like, no, Dead Souls was the one with
Right.
the... Yeah.
I want to do those too.
Yeah, Lost Judgment apparently is quite
Zombie.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yup.
If only.
Port Yakuza Dead Souls over. Let's go. We deserve it.
Or just do a sequel. Do Dead Souls 0 and just
Yeah.
new game. Yeah, that's all I've been playing. I've been playing it pretty slow after wrecking my tag last month. So
You got anything
how I
coming
managed
up?
to keep over a 2-point ratio is insane. I got some stuff I need to work on. Like I've got Power Rangers still on my tag I need to do, but it's a Connect game. That's a huge pain to get around to. No, you with the 2024 game thing that interests me because I have actually done a few 2024
Yeah.
games for once, not just Legend of Mana and Dead Rising Remaster, but I did like Visions of Mana and I don't know. I'd love to do Life is Strange.
Yeah, I'm going to probably play that next week.
Yeah, so we'll see.
I got Dragon's Dogma 2 ready to
I
go.
got some free time coming up.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get some good sales for Black Friday to really spurn, like, just be like, oh,
Yes,
cool.
that's kind of what I'm also waiting on.
I'll just knock off a couple of mine. To go with the horror month theme, I also I played Choo Choo Charles.
Oh, I did. That's one of the ones I did.
Yep, that was way more low budget than I was expecting, I got to admit. I remember seeing a lot of preview stuff for it and being like, oh, cool, this is like kind of like a fun little small indie game about like a killer Thomas the Tank Engine train. And
It's
then
a
like,
meme.
yeah, it was such a meme game. It was like,
It's a meme.
it was such a meme in terms of like, I knew it was going to be like a relatively small game, but it was like, yeah, the voice acting's not great. The guys' mouths don't move when they talk to you. The quests involve just like walking up to them and usually doing like a minor fetch quest. Like there was really not a lot to that game.
It's funny. My take was the exact opposite, where I was like, "This is more of a game than I expected. I expected just real short, nothing."
Sure.
But the fact that I like train around the whole island and he's like just hunting out there and stuff, I thought that was neat. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's a game that needs a sequel where they just need to just take that and just make it more.
Yeah, I could see
And
that.
I think
for
it'd be
sure.
really cool.
I also played Guilt, which was from Tequila Works.
Stadia?
Yeah, GYLT, Guilt. So
Yeah, it was like a Stadia game. Or...
yes, it was the Stadia exclusive that they launched with. That was their big kind of thing. Yeah. So it's from the team that did. They've done a couple of things. They did Rhyme, which was that really beautiful RIME, which is that really beautiful like no dialogue platformer.
I don't think they can spell.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. And they also did the Sexy Brutale, which is one of my sort of favorite, lesser known Xbox Live, like or Xbox indie games, which is about like solving a murder mystery after you've died, kind of like Ghost Trick style, like going back in time, manipulating stuff, and kind of just trying to make things happen and understand a mystery, was really really fun. Yeah, Guilt was great. It is very much baby's first Silent Hill, where it's like, oh, girl is trapped in a horror world and has to hide from horrible monsters, and also go through like a creepy school and find her cousin who's over there for some reason. And so, you know, it was like a sort of like 5 to 6 hour experience, maybe. A lot of collectibles, but you get a good guide, you'd be fine. It was good. Like I enjoyed it. It was well made. Like it's, you know, it didn't go beyond what it needed. You get like a new tool every hour or so. So like you start with a flashlight, eventually you get some other kind of fun stuff to play with. Yeah, I mean, you don't really have a lot of like combat options. The whole thing is that you're supposed to be hiding a lot, but you have a few like things that deter enemies or distract them. It was better than I thought it was going to be, and it's been one that I've been like wanting to play since it was on Stadia and it was on sale, so I just picked it up over the spooky season. And then one other one that I was playing was Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So me and the boys, Keo, Stubby, and Cameron and I, we finished up Borderlands 3, so now we're on to Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Which, if you don't know, is basically it's very similar to that Dungeons and Dragons DLC for Borderlands 2. So you kind of you're playing on a tabletop and you go into locations and you shoot things, but now you have like magic and D20s everywhere and a lot of meta jokes around like fucking nerdy shit. It's pretty funny. Like I think it's definitely better written than some of their other stuff, but something about it just doesn't click quite as well. And I don't know if it's like one of the things about Borderlands that worked really well was like the vehicle stuff was actually quite fun. Like the maps were quite big and there was some vehicles. I haven't figured it out, but there's something about it that isn't quite clicking for me. It's very compartmentalized in that like you go to the overworld, you go to a zone, like an area on the overworld, and then you're just kind of in that zone for a bit. The zones don't really connect to each other all that well. I don't know, but we're having a pretty good time with it. It's, like I said, relatively funny, but just hasn't quite grabbed me yet.
I mean, based on sales and reviews, I think you're not alone.
Yeah, yeah. So
I never heard it was broken. It's just everyone was kind of like,
it's fine.
okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad game. I mean, like I got it on sale.
Andy Samberg's in there.
Yeah, Andy Samberg is in there. They got Will Arnett to voice the villain.
Yep.
So I'm just like fucking like just making BoJack Horseman jokes every 5 seconds. Like, and I'm enjoying it, but also just like if I was playing it by myself, I probably would be bored to tears. It's very much like co-op experience, but I feel like that's kind of cheating because most games are better in co-op. I've got 2 more big ones to talk about, but Jake, let's go to you.
Yeah, that's good. It'll be pretty short and sweet. I've been obviously not here because I've been busy, but that also means I haven't been sitting in my chair playing video games as much as I'd like to, so I haven't been doing a whole ton, but I did finish off Final Fantasy IV, which without playing 5 and 6 ever in my life, 4 was previously my favorite of the pixel or classic 6, I guess you could refer to them as. That was always my favorite one. So I finished that off, and obviously still a great game, still holds up. Probably the 4th time I've ever beaten. I've beaten the Game Boy Advance one. I've beaten Final Fantasy II on the SNES, and I have beaten 100%ed Bessarion Treasures and everything. The PSP release that had the interlude and after years, so like the 3 times as much content basically. So this was the Pixel Master. I still think that the best one is probably the PSP version or the Steam version, even though I don't know how I feel about the chibi
art style
2D 3D. Yeah, I think the PSP version it really like hits the nail on the head. But anyway, great game. And then I dove right into Final Fantasy V because I'm trying to go through just all of them. So I'm probably a third of the way through 5 now, and I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, I'd never done 5 before. They brought back, so every Final Fantasy is pretty much always have some different twist or unique thing in the combat system. 1 is a very basic JRPG. 2 is you level up your stats by acting out those stats. So you level up your health by getting hurt. You level up your MP by using magic. You level up your magic ability by using magic abilities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Final Fantasy III introduced the job system, which is basically classes that you can kind of swap between, so you're not stuck with like the same party the whole game. You can kind of like change. You unlock them throughout the game, and you can change them as you see fit. 4 goes back to like static class. It's closer to 1 where it's like static classes, but your cast is changing out a lot through the game, so you don't always have the same necessarily jobs or classes because your roster's swapping all the time. But 5 brings back jobs, but they do it in an infinitely better way than they did in 3. Because with 3, you would basically use the job and you'd level up the job and you'd get more stuff by leveling up the job, and that was really it. And it was a big grind to level up jobs. So like you were basically committing to a job. Whenever you unlock a new job and you just switch, and that's like the job you'd stick with, because it was there was just no reason to like grind out the other jobs or something. But 5 does it where the grind isn't nearly as bad, and as you level up the jobs, you essentially learn the skills that the job has. Like if you're a black mage, you'll be leveling. There's like 6 or 7 levels for the black mage, and by level 6 you'll have mastered black magic level 6. And what that means is you can go do a different job, which will have its command that is specific to that job and special to that job, but you can also slot any other command that you've mastered from your previous job. So if you're like you got level 6 black magic, now I want to switch to a knight. Well, you can play your knight, but you can also slot level 6 black magic spells. So you have there's a lot of freedom, a lot of customizability. It creates it gives you more of a reason to experiment with all the jobs, because when you level it up a few times, you can actually take something with you and continue to use it, even if you don't want to use the rest of that job. So I'm thoroughly enjoying 5. I totally understand why it's some people's favorites, specifically from a gameplay standpoint. The story hasn't really sunk in yet as like a masterpiece story, but the gameplay for sure is super top notch. And then obviously in the future, as soon as I'm done with 5, I'm going to jump into 6 for the first time, which is highly regarded, some people's favorite in the entire franchise.
Yep.
Through of even 1 through 16, 6 is still some like the favorite of many. So I'm very eager and excited to get into 6 for the first time. And then I've been playing the Crew 2 as my racer. It was kind of funny, Neo or Matt, when you were talking earlier about the Hogwarts Legacy falling like suffering to the Ubisoft too many icons on the map that don't mean anything. Oh my god, the Crew 2.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Oh my god, the Crew 2. It's insane. You boot that game up, you literally do the tutorial, and then all of a sudden it's like, here's 100 icons on the map. Like, I don't even look at the map. I literally hit the back button. Yeah, I literally hit the back button, right bumper to activities, and select the race from there. Like,
totally
I don't.
The same. I'm not fucking around with that. Exactly.
I barely explored the free roam map, which unfortunately has made me feel more disconnected from the world compared to the Crew 1.
Yeah. Because
the Crew 1, you actually are driving through the map and you're kind of learning the map. And the Crew 2, I'm really just kind of doing races. I will say the Crew 2 is very, very fun gameplay-wise. Like, it's way better than the first game gameplay-wise. But it's also infinitely more soulless. Yeah. Like, 1 had an actual story. It was a terrible story. Don't get me wrong. Halfway through it, I was skipping cutscenes because I was like, I don't care. But at least I had a story. At least the races felt like I was doing something to progress the plot because of the race. Like, I was hunting down this guy, part of this gang, or I was out running away from the cops because of gang stuff. You're doing gang shit, basically, in the Crew 1.
Yeah.
In the Crew 2, you're an influencer, I guess.
You're racing against 4 guys who are kind of dicks, and you're like, oh, these guys aren't very nice people who do these racing things. You should destroy their careers.
It's very 2018, like influencer, social media, like buzzwords, and God, what did I say? I think I kind of hit the nail on the head when I was talking to somebody about it. I was like, I said, oh god, I'm actually literally gonna find it because it was so funny. Because it was in a Discord conversation. But I said the Crew 2 asked me where I was at on my latest sprint. The Crew 2 asked me if I had the POs submitted for Q2. Like, it's just the corporate game I feel like I've ever played. And I feel like that's just like 2018. That's what games were, honestly. It was
Agile, the video game.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm enjoying it from a gameplay standpoint. I think the game's fun, but it is just like lacks any soul. Like, blinds are full blown open. A massive corporation made this game, and they don't care if you know it. And then also I mentioned earlier too, when we were talking about Black Ops, I played a tidge of Black Ops 6. I played a couple rounds of zombies. Had a good time. I'd go back to it, like I said, but probably purely casually. I don't think I'm fortunate enough that I didn't start Modern Warfare, so I don't have to worry about Modern Warfare 3. I don't have to worry about Black Ops 6. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to keep it that way.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Good call.
And that's been me. Been busy as shit, so I haven't done a ton.
So when I put this list together, for the show last week that we didn't end up getting around to. I realized my games on the list have not changed because I have been doing nothing but playing Black Ops 6 and Metaphor this week.
Nice.
Black Ops 6 is fucking great. And I cannot believe that I'm saying this, but it's probably going to be on my Game of the Year list somewhere. I don't think it's going to be near the top, but it will probably be in there. I have been having a great time with this. I played through the campaign. It's a little bit too short, but every level is quite different. They go for a variety of themes, from all the way from like David Soderbergh, like Ocean's 11 casino heist, to infiltrating and like Hitman style assassination level, to going into a weird base with some weird trippy shit going on, to going to a Clinton fundraiser where Bill Clinton is on stage, and you take photos with a camera, and you're trying to sneak in and get secret You need to get like an eye scan of a senator to be able to get into a secret black site that's underneath the cap. Like, it's crazy. It's fucking great. I mean, it definitely has some of the, like, there's some parts where it's slightly unbalanced or whatever. Playing on veteran is a bit of a slog at some points, but overall, one of the easier games. It also has like an upgrade system in the campaign. So it's like you earn money. Again, like, I haven't played Call of Duty for a while, so this might have been in the old ones, so I apologize. But I didn't play Cold War, for example, which this looks like it's kind of like almost a direct sequel to in terms of like its themes and characters. But yeah, you like when you go to you have a safe house, and every few missions or so you end up back at the safe house, and you get money through the missions for like finding it or finding safes that you crack into, and you can spend it on. It's like, hey, do you want to hold like another mag of ammo, or do you want to have more, like, carry more grenades, or take less damage, or have elite enemies drop? Like, it's literally just has like a little like mini super light RPG system in there for you to like upgrade your character. And so like you could easily like run through this on easy and just have like a real easy time with it, and just do veteran with all the upgrades, and just kind of breeze through it. It's even got like a little mini open world area where you kind of just like you're in Iraq during Desert Storm. It's set during 1991. And you kind of just like you team up with Delta Force, and they're like, hey, we need you to take out these Scud launchers, but also you can just drive a truck around and do all these like points of interest and get like upgrades for like the next mission you're going to do. But it's all very much this is going to be a weird comparison, but it does the Resident Evil 4 thing of like, hey, here's a fun little idea. We're going to use it once, and that's it. We're just going to move the fuck on. And like it's like it'll be good for like an hour, like 30 minutes to an hour. And the next level will be just something completely different. And yeah, sure, it all boils down to you just shooting dudes in the fucking face because, you know, it's Call of Duty. But I really, really enjoyed it. Like, it was great. It puts in so many of those elements, and like every level is like quite different. And like I usually like the Call of Duty campaign, so I was like, oh, cool, great, enjoyed it. Went through on veteran, got all the achievements. Fired up the multiplayer. I've been playing that with sort of Keo and Nick and Cameron. Having a great time with that too. Maps are really fun. Modes are really good. Achievements aren't too unreasonable. I actually got almost all the multiplayer achievements done already, like 500 kills, 25 wins. They're pretty reasonable requirements. I mean, yeah, like it's, you know, some of the stuff's in balance. Recon allows you to see through walls, which is bullshit. It's like a fucking wall hack. But, you know, they'll balance it. And people bunny hop and dive too much, but that's just kind of, you know, that's Black Ops for you. But like I'm having a great time playing a competitive multiplayer game, which is unheard of. And then zombies, I've just been putting so much time into it. So right before this call, I just finished the second Easter egg. So all I have left for zombies is there's one achievement that's really grindy. There's like a permanent upgrade system that they've put in, where as you play through, with your like, you know, loadout XP stuff, with your perks that you get throughout the game, you can now augment them with extra abilities. So it's like Juggernog now gives you extra health, like additional extra health, or you do additional damage when you're at low health, or things like that. And you have to fully upgrade 10 of them, which takes a lot. I think it's like 200,000 XP per perk, so it takes a long time. But yeah, I've been having a really good time with zombies too. I'm nearly done with kind of getting my headshots and getting my opal camo and all that kind of stuff. It's the kind of thing that, like, I like first-person shooters quite a bit. I've never been very good at them, and the zombies I've always enjoyed it, but have been very bad at. Whereas, like, this is, like Jake said, like a lot easier, a lot more forgiving, a lot more fun to kind of get into and kind of play around with. Like, we made a shitload of mistakes doing the Easter egg before this, but we still managed it, you know? Like, we had a couple of fuck-ups. And I ran through the other Easter egg with a few other people yesterday and got that one down pat. So apparently I'm just going to be playing a lot of zombies. So, like, I think Black Ops is just going to be something that's installed on my Xbox for a while as I wait for just, like, double XP weekends and stuff, and just kind of, I'm going to be one of those people. Which is crazy, because, like, that's not the kind of shit that I, you know, usually get into. I'm usually kind of like, oh, can someone please run me through this shit, because I have no idea how any of these steps work, and I think it's overcomplicated and kind of unfair. And then on the complete other side of the spectrum, I am 75 hours into Metaphor Refantasio, and it is 100% my game.
Same game.
It's so good. it is like stuff you were talking about with like Final Fantasy, Jake, is all through here. So instead of a persona system, you now have a job system. Every time it's called archetypes. Every time you fully level up an archetype and you master it, it becomes you get a permanent stat bonus to your character, and you can also then unlock the skills within that and add those onto other ones. So depending on how leveled up your other classes are, you get 1 through 4 slots, and you can just slot in an ability. And that could be like an attack ability. So like you said, you could be a knight with like a magic ability, but it could also be a passive. So there's like one passive that increases your standard attack power by 50%. So I've just got that on all my characters. So whether someone's playing as a mage or a knight, I can just be like, I'm going to save some mana on this and just kill the shit out of them with a regular attack. And it actually just doesn't hit for nothing. Story-wise, really, really good. I rolled credits on it earlier this week. I'm doing my New Game Plus playthrough at the moment. Story-wise, it's very, very strong. I think it's the best game that the Persona team have ever done. I think they've filed down so many of the kind of edges. I mean, again, as someone who loves Persona 5 and 4, and Reload was very good this year as well. That'll also probably be on my list somewhere. They've made it so that like the social links, every time you can talk to someone and do a social link with them, they always increase by 1. So you're not like trying to manage stuff. You don't have to have a different archetype or persona to try and get the most value out of it. You don't even have to select the correct answers to get the biggest boost. You can actually just be true to yourself and just talk to them the way you want to talk to them. They've reduced it from, instead of having 10 levels, it's now 8. And as you level them up, you get new archetypes. And like, I spend most of this time not actually in battles, because if the enemy is weak enough, similar to Persona 5's Memento stuff, you can just hit them outside of combat. And normally that'll be like, hey, you do an ambush and you get an early attack. If they're low enough level, they just die and give you experience. Because the game's like, yeah, like, why would you want to fight all these enemies that you're going to kill in one hit anyway? They're not even going to get a turn. We'll just wipe them out. And so there's also like, yeah, if the enemies are a medium level, then you probably take a couple of hits to kill them. And if they're high level, then you can stun them if you attack them enough times and get an early attack in. It's very much like an epic journey. It gets away from, my biggest issue with Persona is that you spend so much time doing the school stuff, because so much of it is centered around like you being at that school for, again, like a student would be most of the year. Where this is like, no, you're on a journey, like you're on a quest, and things change in that quest, and like, you know, you have a problem and you're like, oh shit, that's not going to work. Okay, well, we're going to have to pivot this, or we got this plan and this didn't work, or we discovered this thing. Story I really, really enjoyed. It's basically, you're basically hunting down a guy who killed the king. Again, this happens in like the opening cutscene. He's like, hey, yeah, I've killed the king. I've declare myself the king. And the king's magic is like, oh, buddy, no, you don't just declare yourself the king. We're going to have a tournament arc. We're going to do a whole thing. It's fucking fantastic. It is a little bit anime Japanese, power of friendship, like...
yeah.
Right? Like, it is, like, again, Persona has always been like, rebellion! Speak out! Like, rebellion is the great... And again, like, it's very much like, it's a little bit base level. There's some interesting stuff around, like, what it means to be a good person and what it means to take on the anxieties of society and what it means to have, like, convenience over, like, again, there's a lot of allegories for stuff in the real world. But it's fucking fantastic. Like, it's a must play if you have any care at all for JRPGs at all. It's just, yeah. And like, you can play through the first playthrough on Storyteller, which basically makes the game like a breeze. And then you have to do your second playthrough, you got to beat a super boss, which only shows up on the regular difficulties. But you can still do that on easy, which is what I'm doing for the second playthrough. I probably could have done without having to do a second playthrough of it. But overall, top tier game, must play, 100%, 5 out of 5 for me. No romances though. There are no romances with the followers, that's the one. You know, I was like, bro, come on. But I get it, because it's like, you know, there are other priorities. But it is, yeah. I also like the variety a lot. There's again, similar to Black Ops in that, like, every mission, like main mission you have to do is actually slightly different in terms of like your goals and what you're doing. It's not just like get to the, you know, go through the palace and do all the stuff to get to the fight. It's like, okay, well, this is going to be a slightly different thing. But anyway, also one last thing I'll say is I love all the characters. There are no social links where I was like, skip. I don't care about you. You're kind of boring or whatever. I just give me my ability. Like, I was actually really invested in almost all the stories that they tell. It's quite a good, like, limited cast. Anyway, I'll talk more about it at Game of the Year, I'm sure. Whew.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to. I've heard very good things about that game.
Yeah.
Like even compared to the Persona games, which are already on another level RPG wise.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Jake, I think this would be the kind of thing you'd fucking love.
Maybe I'll have to dive into it after my Final Fantasy binge.
Yeah. I feel like I'm like, well, I had the thing where it's like I roll credits on it. I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do with the rest of my life? Like, fuck. Like,
it's one of those games.
It's a classic thing of like, we're like, it's like I just played this fucking masterpiece, and now I have to fucking play something else. I gotta find something else to play.
That's like such an interesting feeling because it sucks, but it's like also like, yeah. What was like I can't even think of the last game that did that to me, but I've definitely had games where I'm just like, holy shit, like, how am I supposed to play another game? How am I supposed to like go to bed? Tonight. Yeah,
exactly. Also, just playing through this at the same time the election, very interesting energy. Gotta say.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah. And that's pretty much all I've been playing. Anything else anyone wants to throw in the ring?
Not really.
Easy.
No.
All right. Well, then we'll just quickly go through our leaderboards. So in third place, we have Thrash Forever with 16,625. In second place, we have Mad Eye Pad Eye with 23,855. And in first place, we have Basham with 37,236 gamer score in a week. You guys need to calm down.
Chill out.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Exactly.
I've gotten maybe 200 gamer score in the last. No, that's a lie. I've done better than that, but I'm salty. I should be done with Final Fantasy by now, but whatever. Life happens, I guess.
It does. And it continues to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm coming up on my 2.5 million, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to play to finish it, but it looks like there's some good trash out there that I need to cultivate. I'm at 2,490, so 10,000 more to go.
Well, you're at that high with the game you're playing now. Next to like a related game, really bring it down.
It's got to be something.
Yeah, there we go.
You know, like I've already played that Bratz game for my last one. So
have you done Alone in the Dark 2008 yet?
Yes, I have.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's a new Monster High game out. You could do that.
Oh, I could do
Barbie
actually.
Game
Yeah,
out.
that's true. That's very true. I could do Horse Club 2.
Monster High's great though.
Yeah, true.
Monster High is fun.
And then we have our completions. And I'm just going to read them straight from the thing. Let's see what we got this week. Apologies, I'm a week behind, so I'm playing catch up. So we had Rapture finishing up Mineko's Night Market. He also finished up AIM Labs. A lot of really good completions for the end of the month. People posting their stats. People had a really good month. A lot of people doing DLC. A lot of like games completed higher than games started, which I always love to see. Cameron finished up Far Cry New Dawn. A few people got Divine Knockout, the one of those games is getting shut down, done. Rapture finished up Expeditions, a Mud Runner game. Stubby and I also did Operation Tango, which I talked about a couple of weeks ago. It's that We Were Here style game, but with like James Bond stuff. Really, really fun, great co-op game. A lot of people finishing up Brotato with a new DLC. Moonzom finished up Inscription, which he highly, highly recommends, and I definitely second that. That is a
game was so good,
fantastic fucking game. A great gift for game.
I haven't hunted it yet, but I've done it 2 times. I played it. I streamed it on Epic, and then I was so addicted and didn't want to mess up my stream save that I bought it on Steam and kept playing on Steam. I beat it twice already. I need to go hunt it. It's phenomenal. It's
great.
100%.
It's great. I'm really hoping that like more of his games kind of end up on Xbox. I want to play Pony Island too.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. So Professor Pluto, Alex, finally got back to finishing that. I know he had a lot of trouble with the challenges, which are a real pain in the ass. Bulbasaur finished up Ark Survival Ascended. Rapture also finished up Somerville, which he put a little review in for that I highly recommend you read. Who was this? Sorry, I need to check the name. Bottle of Sharks. Sorry, I always check. They've changed their icon. I don't recognize them off site. Finished up a bunch of cat games, Cats in New York and Cats in Paris. I've been hearing people enjoy those games. I don't really know much about them. I mean, obviously they're like very, very simple. But
it's like Where's Waldo, but it's cats,
okay.
And you you find the cats in the pictures. It's pretty much it.
Sure, yeah, great. I'll play.
Yep,
like
that's
cats.
it.
And there's a big cult following. I got a friend who's like does all of them and loves them.
I mean, they got like decent. I mean, for a game that's like less than like a 1.1 ratio. It's got decent, people rating it okay, like 3.5s and stuff.
Yeah.
And then a recent one that just came in, Happy Moogles finished up Resident Evil 2, which is a really great get because I know some of those, there's a couple of achievements in there that are real sticklers. I've been meaning to get to that
gas
game.
station one. Screw that.
Yeah, the gas station one and then the hunk one. Yeah, but one of these days I'll get to that game.
I don't know, man. I did 7, and that DLC was was rough. I feel like if
you could do 2.
I don't know if
you could do 2.
I feel like I could do 2.
You could do 2.
After doing 7.
If you did 7, you could easily.
Oh yeah,
do
if
2.
you did 7, you could do 2.
Yeah.
I underestimated 7. I thought 7 was like going to be a walk in the park. I'm like, oh, it's I feel like everyone I know has ever done 7, and then I was like, oh my god, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, I love the base.
It's a shame because that base list is easy.
Exactly, it's a good
The
list.
base list is
really good list too.
Yeah, but then the DLC comes and it's just like
Ethan Must Die and Poker Hands and
I still need to.
Yeah,
that was one of those ones where I was like, I'm going to go back to that for DLC 2 months, and I just kept putting it off because I was like, there's other DLC I could work on. I'm going to go back to Wolfenstein 2 instead, is what I said.
Yeah,
dude,
that's a take.
That was one. Resident Evil 7 was one that I was like, I took exponentially longer to finish Resident Evil 7 because of how like dreadful it was.
Yeah.
Like, I would sit on pause because I'd be watching a guide and I'd play my guide and then I'd do the thing in the guide and then I'd pause to go watch the guide. But instead of watching the guide, I'd go watch whatever else I was watching.
Like, I don't want to be.
I was more interested. Like, I don't want to keep playing the game. So like a 30-minute section would end up taking me like 3 hours. Like I'd play the game for 3 hours one night and I'd make like 30 minutes of progress. So yeah, God. Ugh. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, great completion. I probably will play Resident Evil 2 at some stage because people love that game.
Yeah, I will too.
And then we also have the word challenge. So a big congratulations to a Logic Dad, Mr. Isaac, question asker extraordinaire. He did get it with Legend of Legaia. The clues were that it had a big tree theme, a lot of trees, had fishing, and what was the last game? It was a PS1 game. He got it very quickly after that. I was kind of hoping he maybe hold off for a little bit.
That'll narrow it down quick.
But no, he got his list together and he fucking got it on the first try. So congratulations. Legend of Legaia is one of those games that I played growing up that not a lot of people know about. My next clue was going to be combo system to really throw people because it's one of the few JRPGs that has a combo system in there for some reason. It's very strange. But yep.
I love it.
Congratulations, Isaac.
Legend of Dragoon, anyone?
Legend of Dragoon was my other option potentially, but I thought that might be a little too cult following. People know it. But yes, so congratulations, Isaac. I will send you some money now that Patreon has paid me. I apologize for the delay. We will have a new clue and a new game next week. I will try and make it a slightly easier one because we're coming up to the holiday season and there's only a few episodes left before we go on hiatus. So I'd like someone to
No, more deep cuts. Legend of Legaia that's a deep cut.
It is a deep cut. It is a very deep cut.
That is a deep cut.
I'm pulling from my gaming history here. All right. Also, I just want to give a huge shout out to the Patreons, patreon.com/hallofgamers. We literally could not afford to do the show without you. We've got the Zoom the Zoom bill coming up in February, so I'm doing some quick accounting to see how much money we've got because they keep fucking putting the price up. But a huge thank you to Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Natolinator, Mad Lefty, Admiral Awesome, Happy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavalier07, Old Mate Clown, Mark B, Mace J, Left for Legacy, and McNulty. Thank you so much. I know we've been really slack around like doing extra content and stuff, but it's great that you guys are supporting us. And if you would like to help support the show, every little bit helps. I reinvest all of it basically into paying for Zoom, paying for the word challenge, and paying for Buzzsprout so we can keep hosting the show on every audio platform known to man. So yes, thank you so much. And that's going to bring us to the end of the show. Jake, do you have anything you want to share? You doing any streaming? I know you're a very busy man.
Yeah, no, not much streaming these days because as aforementioned, very busy man. You can find me where you always have been able to find me, Hall of Gamers, Discord, the Achievement Hunter Anonymous Discord as well. You can find me on most platforms as Reptile 3000. On the few that you can't find me is that you can find me as Just Shake SD. But if you seek me out, I'm easy to find.
Seek and ye shall find.
Yes.
Shane, what about you?
I don't hide.
I got the whole website, firehawkd.com, so you can just find all my social links there. Otherwise, I'm firehawkd on most platforms.
Fantastic. And I'm Neomaster on everything, True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord. I'm always on the Xbox, but I don't do any streaming or anything. But if you want to send me a friend request or whatever, feel free. That's been episode 147. I apologize for the technical issues. My computer did shit itself, so I will have to try and fix that. And if you didn't notice it, I've done a really fucking good job in the edit.
Yeah, you didn't have to mention it.
No, I didn't have to mention it, but I figured, if I fix it, I can edit this bit out too. But thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Fair.
We'll catch you guys later. See ya.